Let us start with Maula's name. We seek his help, his Nurani Madad. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nur Maulana Shah Rahim Al Husaini Hazriman. Ya Maula Mehban, Ya Mushkil Kusha Mehban. Ya Maula, few of us have gathered here, Maula. We are seekers of your knowledge. We seek you, Maula. We seek your love. We seek progress in Ruhaniyat, Maula. Ya Maula, Ya Mushkil Kusha. Today in this gathering, we seek your Nurani help, Maula. Ya Maula Mehban, Ya Mushkil Kusha. Help us all, each one of us, the seekers of your knowledge, Maula, to climb up the stairs and to find you, Maula, to become close to you, Maula. In Quran, you say that you are closer to the jugular vein. You are so close, but why do we not feel you, see you? We want to be blessed not only with your Zahiri Didar, but Batini and Nurani Didar. Ya Mushkil Kusha Meherban Maula, be with us. Be on the tongue of this Nachis, this insignificant person, Maula, who is here with such blessed souls who want to learn some knowledge, Maula. Ya Maula Meherban, please help. Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alamin. With that Nurani help of Maula, we will start talking about Baytu'l Khayal. That was the topic I was told to talk about. And I was thinking, how do we go about it? I do not know what level of knowledge or what questions you have. I would love if you have questions and we can start directly from questions and answers. If you ask question, you'll give me an opportunity to open up and then you can ask. Otherwise, I can start from the farman we heard in Jamaat Khan, right? Maulana Hazri Imam's guidance, any Jama. We just had farman from Maulana Shah Karim. And Maulana Shah Karim gave us this hidayat that he's going to bless us with happiness. This happiness which is everlasting. Nobody can take it away from us. And it is very individual happiness. And we are told that, number one, you should not share it with anybody. But then if you heard the Farman carefully, he says that if you were to share with somebody who does not even understand, they will not understand you, what you're talking about. Now, our peers have said, Gunge sapna paya. When Peer is explaining us, he says, Gunge sapna paya. It's like, how do you explain? If you're mute and if you have seen a dream, how would you talk about it? Because people, you just can't talk. Meaning that when we talk about Baytu'l Khayal and higher understanding of Baytu'l Khayal, it is actually two ways. The one who's speaking and the one who's listening, they both have to be elevated. And we are insignificant, we know nothing. We have not done the work, right? But we desire to do the work. That's why we go to Jamaat Khana. We are those who asked Maula Baba to bless us with Ism-i Azam. And the same Farman Maula says, if you be regular in Jamaat Khana, if you do your bandagi, I will give you another link. And then he says, if you continue to practice, it will become easier and easier. It will become easier and easier for you. And you'll be able to climb the ladder faster. When I talk about climbing the ladder faster, it is from Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah. Maula says that those who have knowledge, they will climb the ladder step by step. Meaning there are steps. Most of us, we think we want to go fly high immediately. And we don't understand that there are steps. And then when we don't understand the steps, and I call it how part, how do I climb the steps? When we don't know, and we sometimes become disappointed, frustrated, that Yamola, I've been doing bandagi, but I have not seen the light. What do I do? The question is, do we understand what light is? What is light? How do we describe it? When we see Maula's Didar, he's full of light. But then when Maula leaves, we miss that light because it doesn't remain with us. Sometimes we see a video or we talk about with like-minded, Jamaati members, friends, family, we feel that happiness. But that leaves us. We here, gathered here, we are seeking for the happiness which should stay with us. And that's what Maula Papa gives us in Farman, that this is happiness which will stay with us. The question is, how will it stay with us? Right? How will it stay with us? And the answer is that we need to know about the letters. What are those letters? And Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah has guided us, and he has said that only with knowledge a soul will climb step by step. So if we want to climb up, we need to have knowledge. Then question is, what is knowledge? Do I not have knowledge? Do we not go to Jamaat Khana? Did we not attend REC? Do we not have Ism-i Azam? We've done everything, right? But in reality, when Maula says, he gives us farman, he is the wise man. He is the perfect man. When he gives us hidayat, guidance, meaning that we are missing out something. And as I said, in my own case, I did not know anything about Quran, right? I was like dumb in front of Quran, like I didn't understand anything. And our tariqa is a batini tariqa. During Surah Baqarah, if you were to open up Quran and if you were to read Alif Lam Mim Zalikal Kitaba La Raiba Fi Huddal lil Muttaqin, आगे पढ़ें, करीब आ जाए, बिल गैबे, ओके, सो बिल गैबे तक दोबारा पढ़ें, यहाँ जाए, थोड़ा करीब आ जाए और जोर से।
अलिफ लाम मीम ज़ालिकल किताबा ला रैब फीहा हुदल लिल मुत्तकीन अल्लज़ीना युमिनूना बिल गैबी,
बस यहाँ तक। अब इसका ट्रांसलेशन पढ़ें जोर से।
That is the book. In it is the guidance sure without doubt to those who fear Allah, who believe in the unseen.
That's it, who believe in the unseen. There is no doubt in that book, and there is another topic of that book which I will not go because we want to focus on Baytu'l Khayal. But then he says that those who believe in unseen. What is unseen? Batin, right? Batin, esoteric, which you cannot see with your eyes. So we are asking for progress in something which we do not see with these eyes. And we just mentioned about the happiness of seeing Mola Papa, we see him with these eyes. When we see him with these eyes, it's a physical happiness. But the happiness which we all are seeking, you cannot see it with eyes, meaning that we need some other kind of eyes, right? Because this eyes will not work. Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah in Kalam Imam Mubin answers this question, right? How? First thing, that you will climb up the ladder step by step. Meaning right now we are on this physical earth in physical body with Ism-i Azam, because Maula Papa is so meherban, he has given us Ism-i Azam. But with Ism-i Azam, now we want to go travel into different realms, spiritual realms, right? But this eyes, this body cannot go there. So how are we going to go further? And then Imam says there are letters. So I want to see that second step, third step. I thought Ism-i Azam, I have it, and that is it. Now, when one has Ism-i Azam, you attend Jamaat Khana, you do Bandagi. Tell me how many years we've been doing Bandagi. Have we seen light? We are still seeking light. We feel peace, we feel happiness. Yes, we go to Jamaat Khana, not judging anybody. Alhamdulillah, we are better than those who are not, right? Alhamdulillah, we are better than those who wake up, even if you don't physically go to Jamaat Khana, because everybody's life and circumstances are different. So we are not going to judge anybody, right? But whoever is trying, they do get some peace, some happiness. But remember, our goal, our key is what Maula Papa is guiding us, everlasting happiness. Wherever you are, wherever you go, you feel that joy in your heart, and it doesn't leave you. And in Kalam Maula, Maula gives us this hidayat, right? कि दुनिया घर मातम का जिसे देखो सो रोता है ज़ारो ज़ार, गफलत का डटा कानों से काटो तो सुनो कैसी पड़ी है पुकार. We are always in worries and stress and trials and tribulations. Always something is going on, stressing us. But here Mola Papa says, no, if you're in Baytu'l Khayal, if you have Ism-i Azam, you will be happy all the time. I want that happiness. I want that happiness. Question is how? We need to understand that this happiness is not a physical happiness. It is happiness for those who believe in Batin. And we read it from Quran. Those who believe in Batin will find that happiness. We are believers of Batin, we say that, but do we really understand what is Batin? Have we seen batil? Like what we have not seen, how would you express that? When Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah says that you have to climb the ladder step by step, there's another thing he says. Only if you were to have knowledge, then you will climb the steps. We thought if we have Ism-i Azam, that is it. We will be happy, we'll find it. But Mawla explains it to General Jamaat and he says that only with knowledge you will climb the steps. Again, the question is that do I have that knowledge? When we know Ginans, how many of us can say that we understand Ginans completely? Can we say that? No, I'm still learning. I am learning. I don't know about you, but I'm learning Ginans still. For our means, still we are trying to understand. Nowadays, we had so many sessions or reflections of Farman of Maulana Hazri Imam. We never used to do that in the past. We never used to do that. And in our gathering and online, we have been discussing Kalam Imam Mubi of Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah's Faramin in Gujarati, in English. Those who attend, they know, right? That we've been discussing Faramins to learn. The question is that when Peer says, Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamara, the word that Ism-i Azam, the word, right? His name, which he gives it to us. Peer teaches us that Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamara. If my bowl is Ya Ali is my Lord. He is my Khudawin. He is everything to me. But that's just word. I'm looking at the word, staring at the word, and it's been years. That word has not moved. But Peer says that within that word, there is Guru. Meaning, if we understand the Quranic verses and Ginan in detail, I am taking you further quickly without going into detail, that in reality, that word is such that Imam-e-Zaman is encompassed in that word. Literally, when he gives us Ism-i Azam, he himself gives himself to us in that word. In that word. Now, then why does that word doesn't speak to us, doesn't talk to us? And if you have ever studied Faramins of Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, Baytu'l Khayal Faramin, Maulana Shah Karim's Faramin, you know, Maula has given us hidayat that this word will talk to you, will guide you, will manifest in front of you. For us, if it is still word, meaning that there is something very critical missing, and that missing element is actually knowledge. When we don't have knowledge, we will not know how do I get to the next step, then the next step, then the next step. So if we don't have knowledge, we cannot climb further. We are standing at the same place, feeling disappointed, angry, worried, same questions, but I don't get the answers because knowledge is missing, right? In order for us to get the knowledge, one can start from Ginan, Farman, Quran, wherever you want to start, or you can start all three together. Maulana Shah Karim, I remember one of the lady when we started knowledge classes, she would say, I am 80 years old. You expect me to pick up the Quran now and study? You know, and she was like, have you gone crazy? You expect me to do that? And I would say, I'm not saying. Shah Karim's Farman is there. You are never to. You are never to. You know? And then that lady herself does presentations on Quran. When you take that step, one step, Mullah says, come forward one step, I'll come forward 100 steps. Right? So he's willing to help us. We have to have that desire. When Maula Bapa gives us Ism-i Azam, we are expected to do ibadat on it, on that word. In previous Jama, even in this, Maulana Shah Karim and Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah used to give us Naksh and the word, right? And this time when Diamond Jubilee, when Maulana Shah Karim had given Baytu'l Khayal, blessings to Jamaat, he said, I don't have to give you Naksh. If you have read the Faramins, because I expect you all to be Baytu'l Khayal member, that's why you're asking that question. He says, I don't have to give you Naksh because you know how to write your book. You know. So our elders, our great-grandparents, they did not know how to write. So Maula used to give them symbol or Naksh to focus and recite their Ism-i Azam. Meaning, We are learning through this farman that we have to be able to look at something and focus, right? And continue to recite our bowl. So when we are reciting the bowl, it is not just recitation, it is looking to. Not with this eyes, our eyes are closed, but we are looking at something. Now, because of education, we know if my bowl is Ya Ali, I should have YAALI in front of me. And I'm constantly reading that, right? That's Naqsh. And then you're reciting the zikr. Guidance in Farameens are that we have to recite this name of Imam which he gives us to us. Different names, whatever name we have. And our hope is, according to Ginans of our Peer, that that word will speak to us, show us things.
Well, I also said to concentrate on the meaning of the poem. So,
yes.
So when you are sitting in Bangi and if you are looking at Yali and you are saying Yali most high, so are you looking at Yali and saying, concentrating on all high, most high? So you are not saying the bowl at the same time. So sometimes it gets confused. Are we concentrating on the bowl or are we saying the bowl?
Very good question. Very good question. So I hope you heard her question. Her question is that if you, Mullah says, guides us in Farmans that we have to concentrate on the meaning of the bowl. When you're reciting your bowl, you have to concentrate on the meaning. So should you think of meaning or should you recite the bowl? You're doing two things. So there's confusion. How do you do your bandagi? So the thing is that when Mawla says that you need to know the meaning, you concentrate on the meaning, meaning that you just said most high. Yeah, Ali is most high, right? But how is he most high? What you gave me is the meaning of the word. Do you know that one is translation and other is meaning? One is translation. What you just gave me was translation and other is meaning. And meaning is deeper. It's ta'wil, it's batin. And that's what I was driving to. So thank you for helping me. Meaning is higher than the translation. And meaning cannot be that simple. Meaning cannot be that simple. Translation can be simple. And you know what I'm referring to? If you were to open the dua book, you will find a farman. And if you read it critically, Mawla says in the dua book that I want you to learn the meaning. Translations, He says translation, but I want you to learn the meaning. And people don't realize that he's talking about two things. And what we do, we ratify the translation. So there is a difference. And that's what I was trying to draw your attention to the Quranic verse in Surah Baqarah, that Momins are those who believe in unseen. Momins are those who will look for batin. Momins are those who will desire to climb in this unseen, invisible world. How do we do that? How do we do that? And that world is light, that world is nur. Meaning, we need to find the meaning of the word nur. The question is, do we know nur? When I said Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamara, do we know Guru? Do we, there's a farman of Maulana Shah Karim of Moscow, Russia. He says, fundamental principle in our deen is to recognize the Imam of the time. Do we not know Imam? Tell me, do we not know Imam? Why would Mullah give us that farman? Have you ever reflected, thought about it? Question is, if Canadian Parliament or Canadian Prime Minister knows Mullah Bapa and we also know him, Mullah Bapa, what is the difference? Recognition, if you look at the meaning of the, in our language, in Ginanic language, it's marifat, right? And in Ginan, there is one Ginan that if you follow the Shariat, you will get to the Tariqat, then you will get to Haqiqat, then you will get to Marifat. So when you are talking about recognition, you are talking about Marifat. Aribhai, I'm standing at Shariat. Aren't we? We are standing at Shariat because whatever we do physically, rituals, it's Shariat. So how do we bridge that gap? Should I say Yali or should I understand Most High? How do I do that? So there is this aspect of knowledge, meaning that there is a lot to learn for us. And there's no way I can emphasize enough, honestly, that we need to recognize the Imam. Question is, how do we recognize? And in recognition of Imam is the recognition of our Ism-i Azam, because our Pir has given us this formula, Sata Shabad Guru Humara. So if I start with the recognition of Imam, I will understand mine. And some of us want to know about Bol, they will be led to Imam, because that's Imam's Farman's guidance, right? So we have to know something, we have to learn. Know is from knowledge. And then we are being told that not just knowledge, but to recognize. And that is marifat. And we know the ladder, Shariat, Tariqat, Hakikat, and marifat. So it's a journey. When we are trying and desiring to learn about batin, the word for batin in Quran is ta'wil. What does ta'wil mean? Hidden meaning, inner meaning. And do you know what our Prophet said? He says, Ana darul hikmata wa Ali babuha. I am the city of knowledge, Ali is the gift. Then there is another hadith, Ana Madinatul Ilm wa Ali babuha. So Madinatul Ilm is the city. I am the city of knowledge, Ali is the gate. And Ana darul hikmata, I am the house of wisdom, Ali is the gate. So first there is a city, and then there is a house. And that is the house we are talking about. We are talking about wisdom, ta'wil, the inner meaning, not translation, but the meaning. So there is a city, gate is Imam. We all are in that gate. We are smiles. Alhamdulillah. We are blessed. Already khush kismat, because we are with Imam's bayah, right? But within the city, we have to find that house. If I were to tell you that today I'm with Mumtaz, I'm living in her home, come and find me in that city. Without address, would you find that house? How many steps, days, months, years you will take to find that house? That is exactly what is happening to us. That is exactly. Because we know of the house, but we don't have the address to the house. And how will we get the address? Because that house, the name of that house is House of Wisdom, House of Meaning. And we have never worked hard to get to the meaning. So if we don't know the meaning, how are we going to find that house? And very interestingly, if we say we are so blessed, there's a city and there's a gate of Maula Bapa, we all are inside the city, each one of us. But when we talk about that house, all of us are not inside, because that house requires searching. That house requires seeking. We will need GPS, we will need some vehicle, and we will need some kind of ability to understand the direction, follow the GPS or follow the map to find that house. That journey is of knowledge. If we don't take that journey, what we did, because we did not know better, right? Ism-i Azam le liya hai, and I have to get to that house. Am I going to fly? Am I going to crawl? How? How would that journey be? We don't know. So we are still standing at the gate of the city, sometimes getting disappointed, frustrated, not sure. What do I do? What do I do? So there is this journey, and I welcome you, each one of you, that if you want to take that journey, I have been working on this because this was my question, that I want to take that journey. So I've worked a little bit on that journey, like trying to understand what are those steps. So, I will have my team help you get those lectures, because that journey requires us learning, right? Just physically take example. If you go in a city and you have to find a house, can you find without an address? Will it take you a month, a year? It will take us time. So it's a journey. It's a journey. And Maulana Shah Karim says, it's never too late. It's never too late. Whoever is interested, want to know more, that knowledge is there. Recognition of Imam is there, right? How in Brahm Prakash, when he is teaching us, Sata Shabad Guru Hamara, how that journey is, that knowledge is available. Because we live in this time of Qiyam. Do you know this is the time of Qiyam? You know who told us? Imam Sultan Mahmud. In his first farman, when he was 7 years and 10 months old, he sat on the Gadi and he says, this is Akhir Zamana. Akhir Zamana, how do we know it in English? end time, Qiyamah, day of judgment. So in this time, and Mola says that there will be miracles. Those who are imani will be able to see the miracles. And then he says, only those who have knowledge will be able to witness these miracles. But if those who are blind, give them a piece of a mirror or give them this piece of a clay, they will not be able to differentiate between it. ठेकरी की आरी सोधियो काई फरक ज નથી. Right? It's the same thing. So there is this element of we being able to find that house of wisdom. But again, we are so blessed because Imam is so merciful. His name is Rahman and Rahim. He gave us the key to the house. Do you know that? And that is our Ism-i Azam. But we have to find that lock. And that's the search. Finding that house, we have the key. We have the key. But we have not taken those steps. We are holding that key and we are saying, I'm searching, I'm searching, I'm searching. But we are not able to find because it involves walking. It involves walking. And that walking is knowledge. Knowledge, how am I saying it's knowledge? So our, dignitaries of religion, our Hujjatan, our Dayans, all in the history, they have talked about that when we want that iman, that firm iman, that this Ism-i Azam will take us to the destination. We have that iman, but that iman is called iman-e-naqis, incomplete iman. Did we ever know that? That there are darjat in iman. Do you remember what we say? Ya Mola, hamara iman ma vadharo. But we ever thought about this dua? Vadharo meaning there is a less and there is more too. It has to be, right? Because we say this dua, ki hamaro iman ma vadharo kar. And iman akhri dam tak salamat. So two things we actually pray for. So when we say vadhara, meaning there is somewhere it's less to. So how do we individually find out what is less and what is more? So when we study the books which are published from IIS actually, it talks about 3 levels of iman. Iman-e-naqis, meaning iman is incomplete. When we don't have knowledge, iman is incomplete. And that's why there's a fear. So there's a dua. Ya Mola, iman akhri dam tak salam. Because iman is incomplete, right? Then there is iman-e-raji. Iman which is walking. Remember we talked about city to reaching to the house? It's walking. We are walking on the path towards completion of the iman. The third step is iman-e-kamil, complete iman. Maulana Imam Sultan Basha says that if your iman is like a tree, he gives example. If the strong wind blows, it goes like that. When the strong wind blows, it goes like that. He says, do not make your iman like that. Why would he give us that example? Meaning that there is a fear attached to our iman. If it is incomplete, we can lose it anytime. And that's how we learn that there is incomplete iman and there is seeking, reaching. Raji is to go towards it, ruju karna, right? And then kamil, meaning complete iman. When we talk about Ism-i Azam, we may know the translation, but we don't know the meaning. We may sing this Ginan with complete, devotion, Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamara. But we don't know how the Guru is hidden in that name, right? So there is something missing, and that missing part is knowledge. And that requires a journey. Having said that, you all are seekers and you all are blessed moments. Otherwise, you won't be here. You want to learn, you want to know, right? But few steps, because I was invited and we have to, I say in my lectures that when you are invited and you are in the presence of blessed souls, you have to do something like doctors do. When we get sick, we are given antibiotics, right? So our healing occurs when we are sick. So we heal. So today's class is like antibiotics. That's what we are trying to do, right? Because journey is long. But we have to be able to talk about few things that we understand what is the prescription. Now, doctor can prescribe the prescription to take it or not. It's up to us. Remember Maulana Shah Karim's farman, you can take the horse to the water. To drink it or not, it's his wish. So we are all those people. It is our desire to drink the water or not to drink the water. So prescription is there. And the first thing is the combination of the chemicals and whatnot. The first is knowledge. And there is a lot in learning of knowledge. And it is a wonderful journey. I was never happy when I was not getting answers. When I got this knowledge, I find myself happy. I am joyous. And those friends who are with me, they know I'm just happy person because I know I understand. Knowledge is power. So first is knowledge. Now come to the second step. When we sit in Bandagi, so we've answered your question, right? Your question that we need to know the meaning we need to know what is batin, what is hidden, right? Another question which comes that we are not able to concentrate on the bowl, and we've been doing Bandagi for so many years. For so many years. As soon as we sit in Bandagi, thoughts of work, thoughts of, family issues, relationships issues, children's problem, all attack at that time, as if we've been keeping all these issues for that time. But our intention was to sit in Bandagi and focus on the Ism-i Azam, not to think about what is happening at business or how do I Mola Papa do to take care of my son or my daughter, or what do I do to fix my relationship, or what do I do to be earning more, right? But tell me, aren't we thinking of all those things? It happens, it's a step where we all have to pass. And in my humble knowledge journey, what I learned, that we think that Ism-i Azam will solve all our problems, we just recite. Half-heartedly, नींद में भी, सुस्ती में भी, बगासा खा रहे हैं और सो भी जा रहे हैं. Or it will do the work. With all the laziness, if we do, and expectations are, it will do the work. In the physical worldly life, if we were to go to school, and if we study like that, will we ever pass the exams? We worked hard. I worked hard to be a nurse, right? And I'm sure whatever work, even if you do business doesn't work if you don't put in the hard work, right? Everything requires hard work. So the key is how to sit in Bandagi. Sitting in Bandagi is actually a war. We are sitting in like going into a battle, going to a war. And you know who taught this concept? Imam Sultan Mahmud. That when you sit in Bandagi, did you keep your sword with you? Talwar rakhi thi? Right? Did you close the doors? Have you heard that, Farmans?
Yeah.
Zanzibar, yeah. That you have to keep the doors closed and you have to have this talwar with you. And do you know the story what Jamaat did? Jamaat did close the door and they kept the talwar. Right? And Mola Bapa came and he said, "What are you doing? I did not tell you to do that." What did they do? Translation. This is what Mola says, literal understanding. Talwar rakh di hai, darwaze band kar diye. Now we'll be able to focus. And Mola says, "I didn't tell you that. But Mola, your words are those. That close the doors, keep the talwar. And we followed your farman." That's who we are. And we think we are following the farman. But we are not focusing on the meaning. And then Mola explains, because that Jama was, Jamaat was blessed. We have those paramins. He explains, I told you to keep the doors of the senses closed. Don't look anywhere. Don't, listen to anything. Don't think anything. Meaning 5 senses. You have to close your 5 senses. The question here is, remember we are talking about all the ingredients of our antibiotic. How do I close these 5 senses? Mola expects us to sit in the Bandagi and close the senses. And we have experienced that it doesn't happen like that. So what is the work which we are missing, what we are not doing? And I was sharing my humble journey, what I learned, that the work had to be done in 23 hours. And we don't do that. We forget about it. Because Ibadat time is that 1 hour. I have to just focus, make sure to reach to Jamaat Khana. It doesn't matter, Shakari says, "Neend bhi aa jaye to it's okay. He's holding my hand. I don't need to work." But every day अगर सो रहे हैं तो पहुंचेंगे जहां पहुंचना है नहीं पहुंचेंगे ना, right? So how to close those 5 senses? The practice starts during 23 hours. Meaning we have to do something in 23 hours. First is knowledge, we talked about. Second is zikr. યાદગીરી રાખવાનું કામ ઘણું જ કઠણ છે, કારણ કે શૈતાન તમારા પછવાડે લાગેલો છે, તમને જોઈને બાજી આપે છે. Right? He assesses us. He sees individually what are your challenges, what are your demons, and he attacks from that. So you do not stay in remembrance. And remember, he's sitting on Sirat al-Mustaqim. When Khuda Ta'ala said, go away, leave. He says, I'll leave. But till the day of Qiyamah, I am going to be sitting on Sirat al-Mustaqim. And you know what Khuda Ta'ala says? Do whatever. My moments will not be coming into your trap. And that's who we are. We want to become those mu'minins to not come into trap. Meaning we have to stay in remembrance. How do we do that? How do we do that? And you know what? The way we know ourselves, Shaitan knows it too. Because Shaitan is not visible to us. Quran says Shaitan can take the form of the jinn and human. It can take anybody's roop, right? My family, my husband, my daughter, my son, my friends. Shaitan can come in any sarup and deviate, right? Or it will come as a whisper. Right? So Shaitan knows us, our weaknesses, and it comes to attacks. Our job is intellectually, intentionally, nahi remembrance mein rehna hai, yadgiri mein. So what is yadgiri? I thought during the daytime I have to work. If I don't work, who's going to pay my bills? I'm working with my mind and my body. But he says no. Do we remember the Faramin of Shah Karim? Even Maulana Hazri Imam? Maulana Shah Karim Farman is that if you are walking from one meeting to other meeting, like passing the door, in seconds, just say Ya Ali, Ya Allah, Ya Muhammad. Nobody will know, but you stayed in remembrance. How easy he made it for us. But we don't think like that because we are so occupied with worldly things we have to do and then worldly worries. We are never peaceful. You know, in Baytu'l Khayal Farman, Mola says, sit in peace. How do I get that peace, that calmness? Anxiety now is prevalent in our Jamaat, right? We are so anxious. The treatment, the key is actually remembrance, and that is zikr, yadgiri. And believe it or not, there are so many beautiful zikr which we are being taught by our peers, our hujjatan. Quran has so many zikr. So biggest thing, you know, the zikr I love the most, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. And I hope that we all know the story of Jonah, Hazrat Yunus alayhi salam, right? He was swallowed by the fish. And you know, we understand the ta'wil of it. That fish is actually our own world, right? But what he did, he stayed in remembrance. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. You are God, right? You are Subhan. I'm the one cruel to me. All the zulm which we are doing is to me. I am my enemy. Nobody else is. And when he completes his zikr, the fish, you know, throws him out alive. Logically, it doesn't make sense. Tell me any fish will swallow us whole and puts us out as whole too. There is no logic in the story, meaning it's allegory. It is an example. There is a meaning to it. The same way Mola said, close the door. It was an example, but there was meaning, which we don't understand many times. So when we stay in remembrance, it is just like the example of Hazrat Yunus alayhi salam from Quran, that when he was swallowed by the fish, meaning he was in the belly of this world, where I have my husband, I have my duties, I have my children to work, take care of, I have my work, and then my friends and my families and whatnot, like issues, tensions, difficulties, worries and worries. But our Prophet, through his own example, teaches us that when he did the zikr, he came out of the belly of the fish. And then he was blessed and he was joyous and he was happy. He found the peace. Aren't we on the same path? We all are. We have the key, but we don't know the house. So the second treatment, second thing which we need to do is zikr. What zikr should we do? And I told you the favorite zikr of mine, La ilaha anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. Because I know I get engulfed by the worldly issues, my work stressors, my family stressors, whatever it is the stressor, I get forgetful. And that's why Mola says, Yadgiri rakhવાનું કામ ઘણું જ કઠણ છે. It is difficult because you do forget. But whenever you remember, and you know what Maulana Hazir Imam did in the youth mulaqat? He said, I am going to give you a gift of tasbih, each one of you. So you remember to do your zikr. Maulana Shakari used to say, women keep it in your purse, men keep it in your pocket. You know, when your hand goes in, you remember your tasbih. Why would Maula in this Joma and previous Joma tell us to do that? Why didn't he say, Ism-i Azam to hai na? Why do we need to remember? Because we are not connecting these two with, with knowledge, because we don't have knowledge. So we think of this separate and this separate. Actually, to become successful in that one Nurani hour, Nurani Ibadat time, the treatment, the key is during 23 hours. We have to stay in remembrance. Why? To close the doors. So if we are finding that difficult, waswasa comes, thought comes, and I'm not able to focus, the treatment is do zikr. How to do zikr? How many times to do the zikr? What are conditions of the zikr? Zikrs are of many types. Many times. Right now we are doing ilmi zikr, zikr of knowledge. If you were to do yali, 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 you are doing, in your heart, qalbi zikr, without using tongue. If you all were to say yali, yali, it will be zikr-e-lisani, zikr with the tongue. There are so many types of zikr, meaning that whatever our life circumstances is, any type of zikr we choose according to our circumstances. But stay in zikr, stay in remembrance. If you want to find that house, if you want to become successful in your ibadah. So Ism-i Azam and zikr, yadgiri, remembrance, they are not separate. They are one. This gives us the boost in the Nurani time so we can focus on Ism-i Azam. So very important part is remembrance. Do we stay in remembrance? We don't. So why do we not stay in remembrance? Or some may say, I stay in remembrance too, but still I'm not able to focus. So I'm asking two questions on your behalf. Number one, I forget. When you forget, the answer is that you have to make an intention. You have to put notes. You have to have physical tasbih, wear a bracelet of tasbih, physical signs to remind you. Am I staying in remembrance? There was a group, we were like thinking of doing this intention. We had alarm set every hour. Zikr time, zikr time. Do you remember? Oh, yeah. Then you got busy in the work. Then alarm, oh, yeah. 5 dafa, 10 dafa bola, 10 hours of work. I remembered him 100 times. Shukr Mola. I didn't do that yesterday. So I created a reminder which works for me. Whatever ways and means work for you. Do you know Imam Sultan Umar Shah gave us another way of reminding ourselves? And I call it pulse check. He says, "Tame pote doctor thene potani naad tapas." Check your pulse. When we go to the doctor because we are sick, the doctor will check your pulse to find out how is your heart beating. Similarly, he says, you become your own doctor and check your heartbeat. Are you staying in remembrance? And then fail yourself in the test and make a goal for the next day that, you know what, I'm going to do better. And this is how I'm going to set reminders so I do better. If you do better during the daytime in remembrance, you will have that energy, that power to close the doors so you can focus on Bandagi. So staying in remembrance. But second scenario is somebody says, oh, I do zikr. Do you know I did 1,000 times? La ilaha anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. And people do that. But still I don't see any change. I don't see any benefit. I don't see any progress. Why would that be? Our peers have taught that too. Our peers have taught us everything, if we understand. What is the Ginanic verse? Kar krodh jena gat mahe jagya, jitya dav sarve hat. You were winning. He says, winners are losing the battle. Why? Because they have these spiritual diseases. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Maya, Ahankar. We all know this, right? So are we indulging in these spiritual diseases? Meaning we are sick. We need treatment. We need antibiotics. We are sick. So if somebody is doing, let's say, 1,000 times zikr, they should be able to focus. They should be able to close the doors. But guess what? They are gossiping. They are judging others. They are jealous of others or getting angry. My husband irritates me, so I get angry. I have no patience, no tolerance. He says, if you follow these virtues, then you will be able to come close to me. So we need to educate. We have to have knowledge about those virtues. Trials and tribulations are part of everyone's life. Difficult personalities are part of our lives. But those who are on this path, seeking salvation, their choices are different from others. We choose to be patient. We choose to be kind. And that's how we heal ourselves. Right? If I see the soul, how will I get upset with you? If I see the soul, I will never be jealous of you because you are progressing as if I am progressing. Right? How easy it becomes. I will not compare myself with you because I see you as me. You are climbing up the ladder, so I will too, because I'm seeing one of me is climbing up the ladder. Right? Because we are one. Remember, we all have come from one soul, nafse wahida, single soul, universal soul. Imam is universal soul, and we are particles of that soul. So how can we be different? We are not. But we have been given this test of life. We have come to this world, and we have all our lives, that whatever life and circumstances we are in. Each one, we think, oh, my life, my trials, my difficulties, you would not believe it. Guess what? If you ask somebody, Ya Lillah, I cannot deal with what you are going through. If we were to open up our heart and listen to each other, each one of us is going through difficult time. Why? Because that's just life is. Because we all made a promise to Mola Bapa, no matter what, send me to this world, I will not forget you. And that's how we are blessed with Farameens, with Ism-i Azam. So the second element, the antibiotic ingredients, is remembrance. Along with remembrance is to get healing from spiritual diseases. Right? If we are following this prescription, there is no way that we will not progress in Ruhani. There is no way. It is impossible for somebody to say, oh, I'm not able to. So we have come to that stage where we are saying it is compulsory for us to progress. We all know why we are not progressing. So now if you have questions at this level, we can talk about that too.
Yeah, what like Ajam Jam?
Ajam Piyan Jam. Okay, very good question. Ajam Piyan Jam, automatic zikr, khudkar zikr. A zikr which happens on its own. Do you know where does it start? It starts with remembrance. If you are someone who practices remembrance, yali, 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 no matter what, you are training your being, you are training your five senses to stay focused on that name, right? And when you do Ism-i Azam Ibadat and you understand the ta'wil, the meaning, you have the knowledge, eventually it brings you to that level. There are steps. The first step is ilmul yaqeen. You have to have certainty of knowledge. You have to be certain with knowledge, true knowledge, that what actions you are doing are on the right direction. Then the second stage is ainul yaqeen. You see the truth with your eyes. Will this be these eyes? It will be the eyes of the heart. How will the eyes of the heart open? When this eyes will close. When we say this eye is closed, remember the doors closing Farman? It is not just this physical eyes, it is the thinking part. That mind of ours has to be in peace and not thinking, then only we'll be able to focus on the zikr. So one is habit building. literally building habit. I will do zikr 100 times, 3 zikr, 4 zikr, 100 times, or 1,000 times, or 10,000 times. We can decide for ourselves whatever we want to do. We all are seekers, right? So if you went to university, school, colleges, how many years of hard work? How much are we interested to do the hard work in here, right? If you make that habit combined with this assessment of pulse check, that am I sinning or not? You're seeking knowledge. If you're meeting those conditions, you will find the light in your being. Now, what is that light? Because khudkar zikr, ajampya jap, comes really later on. There are signs before that. What are those signs? How do I know that I'm progressing? That's another question. How do I know? And believe it or not, Quran talks about it. Ginan talks about it. And the first sign which a Mu'min experiences in ibadat is actually sense of smell. They smell fragrances. Another early sign is they hear sound. Quran talks about it that, Khuda says in Quran that I don't shy away from giving example. Then he gives example of buzzing of bee, mosquito buzzing. And you know what Maula Ali says? I am Bauza, I am that bee who buzzes. Where does it buzz? Where does Maula Ali becomes a buzzing sound of a bee? In our ibadat time. When we open up our ears, we'll hear, and you'll see, I'm in Jamaat Khana. There cannot be any mosquito or fly here. What am I hearing? You need to know it is a sign. Maula Ali visits you because your batni ear opened up and you heard it. If we have knowledge, then we'll know and we'll believe it. If we don't have knowledge, we'll say, right? We'll miss it. We'll miss it. So many of the members, in my humble journey of knowledge, very many Jamaati members have shared that they have had experiences, but they did not know about it because there's no knowledge. So remember, the most important part is knowledge. We have to have knowledge. So many of you already have experienced light in your life. Because how is it possible if you've been working so hard doing ibadah, right? Being regular in Jamaat, going through lots of difficulties of life, but not missing to remember him, making sure to come back to him. He says that when you come one step towards me, I come 100 steps. He does the work for us. So how will we not see light? I believe each one of you have seen light in one way or the other, but you may not realize. So buzzing of, this bee or mosquito, whatever you want to say. In Quran, the word is ba'uza. So you hear things, you smell things. Some people say, nowadays we don't do loban, but you know what? I had the smell of loban. But there's no loban in Jamaat. And if they're in knowledge, I would say, Mubarakbad. Mubarakbad. You had an experience. Because these tiny, tiny experiences will boost your, desire to know more, to have more, to work hard more, to go further. So these are experiences which Jamaati member has. Sometimes feeling like shedding tears. Sometimes feeling suffocated, as if can't breathe. Why? Because you, being this world of particles, Imam Sultan Ahmad Shah talks about in his Baytu'l Khayal Ibadat that you are alam izzat. I wonder if you have read those Farman. Yeah, he talks about Jina, zarra karta Jina, he says, is a world of particles. And this concept is from Quran actually. So Imam in Baytu'l Khayal Farman was teaching us Quran. And I was struggling, where is this Jina? Where do I find this particle, Mola Baba? It is actually from Quran. So we all in our being is a whole world. Who told us that? Imam Jafar Sahib. Right? And in this world, there is a world of particles. There is a world of particles. When we are doing ibadat bandagi, angels come because they get attracted to us, right? Because we are trying to purify our being. Jamaat Khana Hazri, Dasom, Dua. We try. We whatever we have learned, we do. And we are seeking higher, progress. So when angels see that there is a purity, they come to you. And when they come to you during Badat time, you, without knowing, you start riyazing. Without knowing. And you're like, I'm not fine because I'm in difficulty. Something is happening to me. And I don't understand. Mubarak. You had a visit of an angel towards to you. Right? And you don't even know that that's a sign of goodness. So I'm seeing some of the faces, and I can tell that you are feeling happy because you've experienced light. You've already experienced light, but you did not know. Why? Because there is no knowledge. So remember the importance of knowledge. So there are very many ways actually one can experience light. It is not just one way, one form. Look at us, we all look different. We all have different lives. Our experiences are different too in Ruhan. But the destination is same. The destination is same. Some people, crawl. Some people, when they, find the path, they start running. Some start flying. One can take, an elevator, or other can take in stairs to go up. Choice is ours, right? That's how you will see the difference in the results in Ruhaniyat as well, depending if you're choosing to take an elevator or you're choosing to take a stair, right? But we all are on the path, and we all have experienced light in one way or the other. When we get to Haqqul Yaqeen, Ilmul Yaqeen, certainty of knowledge, certainty of I, certainty of truth, that's the highest, most stage. At that stage, we don't recite this mass. It's going on without we saying it. Without we saying it. And you know what? The trailer, the jhalak of it, if any one of you, if you do zikr, let's say, it was Laylatul Qadr time, and we are listening to zikr, tasbih, you did one zikr, and then you woke up from sleep and you felt you're just doing zikr. Have anybody experienced that? Who was doing that? You just woke up from your sleep. You were sleeping, weren't you? You were resting. Who did that zikr? But you felt, you heard that zikr, and you started saying it with your tongue. Somebody was doing the zikr for you. That is an experience. That is an experience. So who was doing that zikr? Do you know? An angel. Because when we are regular in our kiryas, saying dua, sitting for bandagi, paying of the soul, Ism-i Azam, Ibadat, Zikr, we invite angels in our being. We invite angels. Maula talks about in his Farman, there's a shaitan ki bazi. But opposite to shaitan ki bazi, there's a friendship of angels as well. Right? When we become friends with angels because we are reciting zikr, we are doing all the right things. We don't want to judge anybody. We don't want to be jealous of anybody. We don't want to have ego. We don't want to be arrogant. And we are working on that by identifying what kind of demons I have as an individual, and we are working on that. When we do that, angels do come and visit us, and they give us signs of progress. When you find yourself from sleep, you woke up and you move and you're doing yali yali. That's a sign. Mubarakah. When you're blessed with a beautiful dream. Do we not see dreams? There are some who don't, but in reality, science says that each one of us dreams. If you remember it or not, but you see dreams. And one of the experience of Ruhaniyat is in dreams. So there are very many experiences. The further you go, you will be able to experience these, different experiences of light, experience of light in your being. And when you know about it, you'll be happy and you'll be content. You'll have this joy and peace in your heart. I am climbing the ladder. I am progressing. I am on the right track. Shukr Mola. I want to do more. Momin will always say, I'm not enough. I am not doing enough. That's a sign of a Momin. Right? The worldly thing, the worldly ways, you're enough in the way you are. So it's a different thing. That do not mix that with this one. A Momin who is a seeker on the path of spirituality, they want to stay humble. Why? Imam says, sit in bandagi in humility. Tell me, have you seen a position of humility? Should I sit like that or should I sit like that? He says, sit in humility or sit like that. What is that position of humility? It is not a position, it's an attitude which we carry 23 hours. How humble I am, how willing I am to hear from somebody, oh, you don't know and I need to learn. You made a mistake. I will not defend, I will not fight, and I'll say, thank you, and I will grow and I will learn. I'm willing to learn. Right? So, humility is an attitude. If we stay humble 23 hours, then we'll be able to sit in humility. Otherwise, we are not Farman Bardar. Because if you want to be successful in Nurani time Ibadat, he says, sit in peace, sit in humility. Right? Sit in humility. So we have to find that humility. So if we have never reflected, how can I be sitting in humility? Meaning we have not followed the Farman. And we want to become Farman Bardar. Because success in Baytu'l Khayal, reaching to Ajam Pya Jam, is dependent on my Farman Bardar. Right? So when we hear the Faramins in Baytu'l Khayal, Maula Bapa actually gives us characteristics. Sit in peace, sit in humility, and sit in happiness. Vyadhi lageli ho to kya thi happiness? Right? Right? So how will I have that attitude of happiness? Am I grateful for what I have, or I'm constantly looking into half glass empty? Constantly, chi nathi any vyadhi, chi che no to shukar che. Right? So that will give me the gratitude in me, will give me the experience of happiness. Then again, I'm becoming Farman Bardar. I'm sitting in happiness. Otherwise, if I'm ungrateful, mane आना mane aa तकलीफ छे mane aa तकलीफ छे mane aa छे, खुदा भी बोलेगा क्या करे इसका, जितना दे उसको खबर ही नहीं है, right? So Imam has given us guidance very clearly that we need to sit in happiness, and that starts during the daytime, how we are thinking, how grateful we are for things we have. And now these things you may say, oh, this we know it. But have we ever connected all this to Baytu'l Khayal? Because we think Baytu'l Khayal is separate from all these things. No, there is no dichotomy between deen and dunya. There is no dichotomy. So why are we separating these two? Mala says we have to have a balance. So the real balance would be, if we work 12 hours in the physical world, we have to give 12 hours into our spiritual world. Can we do that? No way. That would be the real, literal definition of balance. 12 hours, 12 hours. But he has never told us that you do not do worldly things or do worldly, duties, sit in ibadat or do dua bandagi for 12 hours. He's never said that. He has just given us guidance, balance. We have to find that balance. What is that balance for you, for you, for you, for me? What is that balance? Right? And how do we earn? Remember, Imam Sultan Shah's Farman, તમે ખોજા છો, તમે એક રૂપિયો નહીં વાપરશો, એમાં ફાયદો ન હોય. He knows us, right? He says, if you don't have profit, you're not going to spend $1 there. Right? So when you think of balance, that Farman helps me. How do I spend my time that I get multiplied amount of benefit in this direction, in the spirituality, so I can have progress? Have you ever thought about that? He says, Varan jara, Varan ludo kari aavjo. You are a businessman, you are traveling, you're a businessman, earn good profit. Tell me, can I take my house with me? Can I take my car with me? He told me to earn money, and I'm earning money day and night. Again, one is literal meaning, other is the ta'wil, the inner meaning. So which money our Peer was telling us that we all are travelers and we have to earn money. And we are clever people. We are khojas, banas and khojas, whatever, right? The objective, the essence is that when we listen to Farman and Maula says, or Peer says in his Gina, that we have to earn benefit. How do I earn from one breath I take to get multiplied benefit, so I have more saved money so I can get a royal bungalow in paradise. That's how I call it. Royal bungalow. Here I have bungalow, to saath le nahi ja sakte. So I have to book a bungalow there, right? I have to have a bank account and I have to constantly put in money in there. Have you ever thought about that? Actually, peers have given us that allegory, that example, because we understand bank account, business, earning. We understand those things. Mortgage is buying house. So they've talked about these examples in Ginans. But we have never taken these worldly examples and applied on Ism-i Azam, Ajampiya Jap, Ruhani Taraqi. In reality, everything we do in the world is an example for us to learn from to earn here. But we have kept it separate. Alag alag khane. Right? So ask questions. Please ask questions, because otherwise I'll keep talking and I don't know. What do you need to know? What are your questions? Do you have questions? Any one of you? Ji.
I heard you saying when you were talking about the angels, the archangels, the way they have the bungee and activate the beacon. And there was a time you say that Gabriel, when you were talking about dying by leaving, and you said Gabriel revives the soul at a certain stage.
So that's a higher concept. So, I'm sure he's listening to lectures, So he's talking about, yeah, I will repeat the question because the question is here. So we have to go there. So first we have to understand that every zikr. I'm trying to tell you about the question because the question is too high. It will not make sense. So I have to take you to the question and then we can talk about the answer. Right? So when we say any zikr, Ya Ali Adrikni, Ya Ali Agisni, right? Ya Ali Ya Muhammad or Salwat, every zikr has an assigned angel. Remember all the names, if you'll understand with this example, we have 99 names of Allah. And we know that every name is alive for us as Ismaili because our Imam is alive, Hazir or Mawjud. So we believe in living Imam. We believe in living name. And that's why P says, Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamara. So Sata Shabad, the Shabd is living. It's not living for us as yet because we have not done the work. But the destination is that Sata Shabad hai Guru Hamara, meaning that Shabd will become a Guru. It will talk to us. It will manifest as Imam for us. We may have Zahiri Didar. So what I'm saying, the point I'm trying to make is that zikr has assigned angels. The more zikr we do, more angels come and help us. And we have experienced different experiences, right? One of the experience from the example of Prophet Muhammad, when he was doing zikr, ibadat in Dar Hira, he had Jibrail coming in and giving him revelation. Jibrail is the angel of Khayal, the world of imagination. In Ruhani Taraqi, the beginning, the first stage is the world of imagination. Now, this is a higher concept, and I may lose some of you, but I'm sorry, I'll try my best to make it simplified, but I have lectures and he can share because he's asking, so he's listening for sure. And so I will try to make it simple. Forgive me if I lose you, ask me so I can keep you with me, but it is a difficult concept. I should give you that warning, it is a difficult concept. So in spiritual progress, the first stage is, our world of imagination becomes enlightened. And Jibreel visits us. It is not only that Prophet had visit from Jibreel. Each one of us can have visit from Jibreel. That's what our Talimat teaches us. Our Batin Talimat teaches us, if we were to have knowledge. So when Jibreel visits us, after Jibreel, there's Mikael. What does Mikael do? Gives us Rosie. What Rosie are we talking about? When we say in the morning, Ya Wahab, are we talking about earning, increasing? Most of us think like that, right? The business mein badha raha. But in reality, the true meaning is, help me increase in my earning for my soul. Give me sustenance from Mikael. Mikael is not just the angel for the worldly sustenance. Mikael is also, remember Maula Papa says that I have come to this world for your salvation. but he takes care of us physically too. He does guide too. And Maulana Hazim Imam Farami, that I want you to live better economically, right? But I want you to progress in Ruhaniyat. That's the reason of our coming to this world. So Mikael is the angel of sustenance. But when a Momin as Salih truly elevates from Jibrail to Mikael and reaches to Israfil and Israel. Now, Israfil and Israel, they are archangels, right? The work of Israel is to seize the soul. And Israfil blows the sur. In English, the closest word which we can use is trumpet. He blows the trumpet. I'm going to make it simple for you. It's a high level concept, but simply think of it when we go for, Mola Bapa for Ism-i Azam. When the Noor speaks to us, when Mola Bapa speaks to us, he is Noor. But he gives that Noor in his words in the form of the name, Ism-i Azam, and he gives it to us. It enters through our being, right? This is a door. Remember, this is a door. So when the pure Noor enters through this door, and when we say Ya Ali, Ya Ali, in a very simplified, narrowed down, simple version, what happens that it seizes the soul. We don't have one soul, by the way. We don't have one soul. We have millions and trillions of souls, uncountable souls. That is another concept, right? It seizes the soul as if, Israel sees the soul. Immediately at that time, the sur is blown, meaning his name revives us, brings us back to life. This is a simple, simplified version. But take this example, what he's asking, when you talk about Ajam Piaja, when you talk about higher level, we all are moments, right? We all know ourselves as moment. We go to Jamaat Khana. But there's a term Peter Nasir Khusro gives that if a moment starts seeking knowledge, he becomes mustajib. The meaning of mustajib is student. And mustajib becomes mazoon, then he becomes dai. Do you know what Maulana Shah Karim did? He made us all die. Push. He gave us the push. The question which these two gentlemen asked, when dai becomes hujjat, peer, continues to go up and becomes one with imam, at the point, at that junction where the sangam happens, the way peer says, Nari shu Marathi viva karo, suhagan karo. At that junction where the soul meets the imam, where that, Nurani marriage happens, Batini marriage happens. How does that happen? It cannot happen. That blessing of the Didar, we as humans cannot tolerate if we are alive. So our soul is brought up. It seized. It pulls up. And that's what it means. That when Israel takes the souls out. And at that time, if you are at that level, that zikr, that Ism-i Azam, revives. And that revival is through Israfil. He blows that trumpet. Sur. In Quran it talks about that all the people will die. But as soon as the sur will be blown, everybody will come back to life. And Khuda Ta'ala will ask, Alastu bi rabbikum qalu bala. Tell me who's your Lord. And answer is, indeed, you are my Lord. Why? Batni eyes opened up. Ajampi Ajam. You died while living. The soul became one with Imam during lifetime, not after death. After death, it's not our business. We who are seekers with Ism-i Azam, with Baytu'l Khayal, we want to get the Didar during lifetime. Who knows after death? I have not seen after death. I want to see right now. I am impatient lover. That's how I say it. We have to become that desperate lover. I want my beloved. The way I hope, Ginan mein bhi use kiya na word, that mane vasal karo. Vasle janan ki kasam. Right? That help me, make me one with you. In physical, worldly terms, we think of it as marriage. That's why Pir gives us the example, right? Because we understand. Physically, a boy and a girl, they love and they get married. The whole world is that. Oh, I am with my beloved, my mehboob. my jana. But this is, we are talking about soul. So soul, when it reaches at that level, this physical body cannot tolerate the didar of the beloved, because that didar is highest level. Remember, the dua we say, Ya Mawla, bless us with Zahiri, Batini, Nurani didar. There is a journey. We may have been blessed with Zahiri didar, and we will be blessed with the Zahiri didar. But there is a Batni didar and there is a Nurani didar as well. So the question is at that level, Nurani didar, right?
So with the nafs, you're already at mutmainna at that level.
Say it again.
With the nafs, say amara, you have already passed lavama and you're at mutmainna during that level.
Yes, you have to be, right? Otherwise you cannot. So he's bringing up another
During
term.
lavama, it's not possible.
It can possible in pieces, in particles, right? So he's bringing up 3 different Quranic verses, 3 different terms. Nafse Ammara, Nafse Lavama, and Nafse Mutmaina. Nafse Ammara meaning carnal soul. Man ne maro to Guru kahe mane mal. We know that man. It's Nafse Ammara in Quranic terminology. And then Nafse Lavama, censoring soul. And I can give you a simple example so you'll understand, you'll stay with me, that, let's say simple, we do zikr, right? Yali yali. Koi vyadhi aayi, koi thought aaye, yali yali. Immediately you said, censor that thought. No, I do not want to think about it. I will censor that thought and I will remember yad. Because that's what I intended for this time, for this hour, for this minute. I want to complete my 100 dana without thinking here and there. I will stay focused with my zikr. I will not think of things and just do yali 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 from the tongue. My mind is somewhere else. I will not do that. Censoring. So that's where it is. So it can be particle by particle. But the stage you're talking about is that level. Complete transformation is happening. So when we stay in zikr ibadat, particle by particle, there's a transformation happening. Meaning that nafse amara is soul by soul, particle by particle, transforming, formation is happening of censoring soul. किसी को judgment का ख्याल है, I don't want to think bad for him. It's her business. मौला मुश्किल आसान करो उसे. I will not think, I will not judge. Censor किया. That's a censoring soul. And then comes the satisfied soul. Satisfied soul is the soul where these things do not bother. How do we understand that? Prophet Muhammad said, the whole companion of Prophet Muhammad, they came after the battle and they said, wow, we need appreciation. We won the battle. And Prophet says, you won the small battle. We all have to fight the big battle. Huh? We just fought, we lost companions, and you are saying it's a small battle? What is that big battle you're talking about? They asked, and Prophet said, it's the battle with your carnal soul. Man ne maro to Guru kahe mane. Physical battle is a jihad, but it's a physical jihad. You got to do the batini jihad, right? So, companion asked, why do we need to do this jihad? Why it is happening? Why? Because this man, I'm explaining in our language and our wordings, so you stay with me. Prophet explains that if you have man alive in you, if your nafs is there, shaitan is there, you will never be able to win this battle. So, companion with their guts, do you not have that shaitan? Prophet says, yes, I have too, but he's accepted Islam on my hand. So now we have to work towards making our shaitan become smiley? Is that what we are saying? Yes. In a way, yes. How? By killing that carnal soul, transforming it to nafse lawama, sensory. Remember we talked about alarm every hour? Then it is alarm every 10 minutes. Then it is alarm every minute. Then, every minute we are remembering. We are not forgetting. Sensory. All the time, censoring soul. So nafse amara takes you to different direction. Shaitan takes you and you're like, no, I don't want to go. I'm going to use my intellect. Maulana Shah Karim has talked about intellect. Intellect gives you that ability to transcend beyond this realm through intellect. So our intention, our intellect will help us censoring soul. And when we stay consistent with censoring soul, people forget. It takes months, years. then they come back. But Mominis like you, hours, half an hour, 10 minutes, minute, work done. Sensing soul is with us. Then the next stage is satisfied soul, always in peace, always in gratitude. Then we are not far from a jumpy and jump. Make sense? Right? Any more questions?
The phase between actually I will classify as a purification.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful way of explaining what this brother is saying, that the stage from nafse amara to nafse lavama, that stage, that path, that journey, he's calling it purifying journey. And I'm agreeing with it. We all have to purify, right? And Imam says that, I have come to this world for salvation. What does that mean? He purifies us. Do you know when we give the song, Faramins teaches us that when we give the song, Quran teaches us that in return, he purifies our soul. When we say our dua, when we say Tobo, Tobo, Taksirdar, Bando, Sirta Paguneta, Yasha Tu Guna Bakshaha, what we are seeking? Purification, right? But if we were to do it like a parrot or a monkey, as Imam Sultan Umar Shah has called us, do you know that? Imam Sultan Umar Shah has called us monkey, donkey, parrot, because we take that attribution and we behave like that. And he was a Imam who talked straightforward, right? So if we, like a parrot saying Tobo Tobo, then we are not thinking. It's mindless, gesture, ritual, action, mechanical, monkey see, monkey do. No benefit. But if we are truly saying Tobo Tobo Taksirdar, then there is a thought. What did I do, Maulana Pandit? I will not do that again tomorrow. Again, mistake will happen. Again, we'll seek. Oh, Maulana, I'm so sorry. I made the same mistake again. I will not do it tomorrow. A tomorrow will come when we will not make it. That sensing soul will become stronger because it is not in our ability. It is not in our ability. We need help of angels. That is why angels are there. Maulana Sultan Marsha says that, you have two paths to choose. Either you become an animal or you become an angel. He says, every night I send army of angels to see who is doing zikr, who is staying in remembrance. Meaning there is this help available, given to us, but we never invoke them, we never call them. We never invite them. So if we never invite them, how will they come? And if we have judgment, gossip, ahankar, kina, whatever diseases, the house is so dirty. Who are we inviting? Flies and mosquitoes. Angels to nahi aaye. If we want angels, we have to go through purification. We have to be very mindfully clean, mop, by being alert कि कहाँ mistake कर रहा है. If we are doing bandagi, if we are staying in remembrance, we should be progressing. There is no other way. 2 + 2 has to become 4. Has to. It cannot become 3 or 5. So why aren't we succeeding? Because something we are missing. Does it make sense? Logically, does it make sense? Right? We all should be, according to our peers, we should all be fana fil imam. But it is us. Remember Hazrat Yunus' story? It is us, our own enemy. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalim. Tu to subhan hai Maula, main ne zulm ki apne aap. Do you know there's a beautiful verse in the Quran? Then I'll stop. You have to ask me questions. So I'll keep going on. In Quran, it says that your daughter, on the day of Qiyamah, she will ask, why did you kill me? I did not kill my daughter. Did you? No. Did we kill our daughters? So why would Quran say that? What is the ta'wil, inner meaning of it? That daughter is our soul. And the way we are seeing, learning that, we are the cruel ones, zalimeen, zulm kya, kis pe, ru pe. And we die, right? We didn't do what we were supposed to do, we die. That soul is going to say, why did you kill me? Why did you keep me in this prison and did not let me come out? You used me, you worked, earned money, made houses, this and that. Today, if I'm alive, if I'm able to earn, If my family is keeping me in the house, it is because of that soul. If that soul comes out, kab daatne jana? Right? Nobody will keep me, nobody will give me money. So if I'm earning or doing anything today, it is because of my soul. That soul, if I abuse today, it will ask me tomorrow, why did you kill me? मान का जन्म रतन है तू काहे को खोता है? Right?
Question. Some books in the 7th of July 2017, in the Farman you quoted about seeing guys, Mullah also said that here in the Fatimid, there are books, knowledge available. And if you're so inclined, read them.
Yes.
I want a list.
You want a list? You have it. I'll give it to you.
I've been looking for it for a long time.
Very important question he asked. And he quoted the Farman of Maulana Shah Karim of 2017 when Maula said, I make you all my dad. And then he says in that Farman that in the Fatimid Khilafat time, there were books written. And he says that read those books so you would know what dais used to do. If we are dai, do we know what is our job description? We have to read those books. And he says, I need the list. And I'm saying, oh, you'll have it. We have books now. It is the time of Qiyamah. Technology is made for us. E-books have been made for us. Though Maulana Hazim Ahmed said that we have to take time off from the screen. Right? So we need to have paper books too. Yeah? But those books are available, and that's how I started my journey. I want to know more. I have questions. Because if we don't know who the Dai is, we have not followed the Farman in 2017. He gave us title. Today, if we have, now Maulana Hazri Imam is coming in USA. You know, I'm from Dallas. Maulana Papa is coming. Every Mukhi Mukhyani, they are so excited. Oh, I'm on the Gadi. I'm on the seat. I'll be getting some love, some varo, Maulana Papa ke saath. Oh, like somebody is going to become a next Mukhi. I wish I was Mukhi at this time. Maulana Papa is coming. Right? How we think of a title, Mukhi Mukhyani, right? We were given a Batini title, we didn't value. So what are we valuing? Physical mulaqat, physical things, physical happiness, which are temporary. It will not remain with us. He wants us to seek Batini happiness. And here who are gathered here, we are seekers of Batin. We will not go for a physical time. So then what is our time? You know what? It is that. And if you were to read the books of Pir Nasir Khusro, it is those timings, 1000 years before Wajh-e-Din was written, he says that in order to become Dai, the first step is you have to become a Mustajib, student. Then you have to become Mazun. Mustajib, Mazun Mehdud, Mazun Mutallaq, Dai Mehdud, Dai Mutallaq, then Hujjat Azam, Bab, then Imam. Meaning there's a ladder, there's a sequence. And immediately, you know what Imam Maulana Shah Karim did? Mustajib, nahi. Mazun, nahi. Mazun Muttalaq, nahi. Sida Dai bana. So it's the fifth ladder. So let's say if we have a child, right, 6 years old, we will admit them to first grade, right? So he has to pass the first grade to go to the next second grade. Maulana Shah Karim, he's Rahman Rahim, right? He says, I'm giving you admission on the 5th grade. But Maulana Papa, I don't even know what is the first grade. I have not taken the test. I have not taken the exam. You know what he said? You all are educated. You know the importance of intellect. You need to find out. And I know you'll promote yourself. But I am giving you duashis of this rank, that. How many of us understood that? And believe me, I have lectures on that because I struggle. I did not know what did that mean. So I was seeking for books, and alhamdulillah, I found books. And that's how I'm in front of you. Otherwise, I don't know much. I really don't. I'm still learning. I'm a student. So can you imagine that if you had critically looked at those farmans, then you will know, oh, I have to ask questions. I have been given a title. How pleased today we will be if we were to be Mukhi Kamar and Maula Papa Islam. Meaning, we undermine, I'm sorry to say that, we undermine his Batini Dita, his Nurani Dita, his Batini Mulaka. His blessing, him blessing us by making us die, he never even worried about that title. He didn't even do the search. What is my job description? How do I actualize that title? When you become Mukhi Kamadiya, they will say, oh, you have to come for a training. You have been selected, but if you don't do the training, you don't know what to do. We've seen the examples. We've seen Mukhi Kamadiya, but I exactly don't know to meet the condition to be meeting the criteria of institution that I can be Mukhi or Kamadiya. You have to go for training and you have to abide by the conditions. Mola trusted us. He says, I'm making you die because it's a diamond jubilee. I'm so happy. You know, king ka darbar lagta hai, badshah ka, to kya karta? Sabko nawaz. Made us all die. How many of us really reflected what is that, who is that, and how are we going to become that? So thank you for asking amazing question.
I need them books.
Yes, you have it. I'm telling you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. So I will make my friend here in the back. Will give him some resource, and you all are in contact with him, so he can share with you. Yeah.
I shed some light with the Quran.
Yes, you were saying something. Yes.
With Quran.
Yeah.
Is when I am in prayer, like, okay, so there's one dua that Maulana Sultan Ahmad Shah said, and he said, Baytu'l Khayal Ibadat Mateni Giriya Zari Tas. Now, I don't want to say that because Hazrat Imam has sort of come out of that and saying, I will hold your hand and take you to that light from the Ginat. Martino Putloch. Right? This is the same verse that Sultan Musa gave of Giriya Zari Tasbih for my Baytu'l Khayal Vara Mateni Giriya Zari Tasbih actually. These words are in there. So I basically make up my own short prayer.
So I'll take that from you.
Tailor-made to
Yes.
myself.
Beautiful. So you see what he's sharing with us, that he has tailor-made a way of praying, offering gratitude, offering prayers. But one thing which he quoted from Farman, I'm picking that up and I'm going to share with you, because when I was trying to tell you about the antibiotics, I actually did not talk about it because it's a hard concept. And because he's bringing it up, Maula is guiding us to talk about it. He said that Imam Sultan Ahmad Shah gave to Baytu'l Khayal member Giriya Hazari Ji Tasbih. Do you know Giriya Hazari? We don't understand what is Giriya Hazari. Our peers, our Imams have focused on Giriya Hazari. The word Giriya Hazari is a Persian word. Do you know what it means? Weep intensely. Have you ever seen anybody weeping intensely in Giriya Hazari Ji Tasbih? Do we understand what we do in Jamaat Khana? We have to say.
People make the voice crying.
I know.
So it's difficult to open
Yeah,
up.
it is difficult. You know why?
Control yourself, right?
Yeah. No, you don't. Let me tell you. Let's talk about it, because we have to grow up seriously, right? So Giriya Hazari means to weep intensely. Our peers gave us dua and told us that morning and evening you have to do Giriya Hazari Ji Tasbih. None of us have our eyes wet. Dua padi, dhar and left, right? But the peer, their guidance was that we will do Giriya Hazari Ji Tasbih, which means weep intensely. Do you really miss your Maula? Do you long for his didar? How can you do Giriya Hazari Ji Tasbih without any tears in your eyes? Yes, if you are at that level, Zinat. I am not, unfortunately. I really have to have some tears in my eyes. My eyes are dry, right? So I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about you, right? I'm talking about me.
Just talk about the film.
Yes, there are levels. So let me make my point. I'll bring your point too. That we do not understand what is Giriya Hazari. Giriya Hazari means to weep intensely. And some of you, I saw tears in your eyes. I did see. Why do you think you are shedding tears? What am I doing? We are not doing Giriya Hazari Ji Tasbih. But what you are hearing is reaching yours. See, now he's getting interested too. We talked about Giriya Hazari. Soul is waking up. Even AI is waking up. So when the soul hears something which they like, automatically, we don't have to cry. Tears will flow out of our eyes. We don't have to work hard. It is natural. Tears are given to us. And when we love our beloved, we don't have to cry. because crying is petty. Do you know crying is petty? And it is Farman of Imam Sultan Ahmad Shah. You know what he said in his Farman? If you have one son and he passes away, you should not cry. What a harsh Farman. He says, if you have worked hard, your hard-earned money is stolen, do not cry. Then when do I cry? Why did you give me tears? And then he says, you must cry for Didar of Imam. In Pir Pingyat Jawa Mardi, there's a story of Yahya Imam gives that Hazrat Yahya alayhi salam, Jonah, right? In English, no, John the Baptist. Yahya is John the Baptist. So he's in the prison. Remember, Jesus was outside and he was taken into prison. So in the prison, he would shed tears. So angels tell Khuda Ta'ala, your prophet is crying. You are merciful. Why are you letting him cry? So Khuda Ta'ala says, and this is in Pir Pingyat Jawa Mardi. He says, why don't you find her? Why is he crying? As if he doesn't know, right? So angels go to Yahya alayhi salam. Why are you crying? What do you need, Yahya? He says, I want his didar. We'll tell Khudavan Ta'ala. So they go to Khudavan Ta'ala and they said, Khudavan, he needs your didar. Oh, he wants my didar? Tell him to cry more. Really? And that is in the Farman. Pir Pingyat Jawa Mardi is a Farman book for us. In Farman, Maula quotes this. Pir tells us to do Girya Azari. Imam Sultan Ahmad Shah tells us to do Girya Azari. Have we understood Girya Azari? We've been acting all our life. We've been acting, literally. Monkey see, monkey do. We do Girya Azari ji tasbih, have no understanding what is Girya Azari. What are the farameens about Girya Azari? What Baytu'l Khayal members have been told about Girya Azari. If you, worldly wise, think of when we were young, falling in love, if we don't get to see our beloved, have we shed our tears? We would. Bhook nahi lagegi, neend nahi aayegi. When do I get to see him? Right? Similarly, again, that's a worldly example, very worldly example. But if we want truly, if we are seeking our beloved, how can we not cry? And Maula's Farman, Maula's hukum is, do not cry when you lose your one son. Iklota bacha. Do not cry when you lose money, but cry, shed tears for Didar. And he gives example. What example he gives? જેવી રીતે બચ્ચું માથી જુદા થઈ પડે છે પછી રડે છે કે ક્યારે જઈને માથી મળે. When a child loses the mother, he's crying, where would I find my mom? That's how we need to shed tears, meaning our heart would be like a young kid, pure, and we are shedding tears for Imam. That is another part of the prescription to be successful in Nurani time path. Because it is a hard concept, and this brother told me, you cannot do Girya Azari because you know what? If I were to cry, Bichari, શું થઈ ગયું છે? કઈ મુશ્કેલ છે? તું મને બતાવ, તને મદદ કરું. छांटे तोबो कर दी क्योंकि खुद का सिन का फिक्र है, तोबो कर लिया, टीयर्स आ गए, मुश्किल आसन की दुआएं मिलने लगी, बेचारी मुश्किल. Right? Because Jamaat doesn't understand that you can shed tears for love of Imam. Happiness for him. I'm not sad.
Longing for him.
Longing for him. I'm not sad. I'm not in difficulty. And even if I am, because I have knowledge, I don't worry about it. I am always in shukr. Because I know this is the illusion which is created for me. And I have to go beyond that. So why am I being judged by those who are sitting on the path? Why am I being judged by my brothers and sisters? Why can't I cry in Jamaat Khana where Pir says, do Girya Azari ji tasbih? Please let me be Farman Bardar. That is our status of knowledge. That much knowledge is missing in our Jamaat. To shed tears is a blessing. It's a rahmah. Because you are becoming Farman Bardar. So Mubarakbad to those whose hearts are soft. Imam Sultan Ahmad Shah says in his Farman, and he talks about this allegory again, example, meaning is different. He says, make your earth of your heart soft.
Zanzibar Farman.
Zanzibar
તમારા પથ્થર જેવા દિલને હું નરમ કરવા આવ્યો છું.
Right. How naram કરવા આવ્યું છું? That make your heart the earth of your heart soft. So when I saw the seeds, then you'll have beautiful plants growing out of it. And then there is no garden in my heart, Mola Baba. What are you trying to do? But he is saying, shed tears, because the heart cannot be purified. There is no water which reaches the heart. Kapda dhove so kya hua, dil dhove so par. Right? So only through shedding tears we will be able to clean and purify our heart. And that will be truly following the farman, doing the tasbih of Giri Azar. Otherwise, it is all drama and acting. I'm so sorry. I'm part of it too. I need to learn. But with knowledge, we can do Giri Azar and we will not judge anybody.
Can you elaborate when in any of Shakarin's Farman he said, when you sit in Bandi, don't be greedy.
Yes, yes, beautiful, yes. So let me complete Giri Azar because it's a very important, very powerful concept. I like to be humble because if I'm not humble, then it's difficult, right? I did not know in my life the power of Giri Azar. So I'm just saying it to you. But when I learned about Giri Azar and when I was able to shed 1 or 2 tears, the feeling I had, the love I felt for Imam was so beautiful. You know, your heart becomes generous, your heart expands. You find new feelings in your being. Giri Azar is so powerful. It's a weapon against shaitan. Zikr done with Giri Azar, amazing. Ism-i Azam Ibadat done with Giri Azar, very, very powerful. So do not shy away from shedding tears. And yes, there are those who do Giri Azar in their heart. Because in Jamaat, you cannot do it. You'll be judged. Literally, you'll be judged. So you have to control. So, you know, there are people who do Giri Azar, but they control. So we don't get to see they're doing Giri Azar. But they do Giri Azar in their heart. But that stage of coming to heart actually comes with a lot of time, after a lot of practice. Physically, we have to go through this practice of shedding tears. When we shed tears, then only we can experience the light. And you know how merciful He is? I'm going to go to the direction of tonight's lecture, but I'm just going to make a point and then we'll go. We experience pain in our life, breakup in relationship, loss of money. And that pain somehow helps us shed tears. We become soft. And of course, we're smiley, so we go towards Maula's name and we experience things. That pain comes as a mercy to us to help us shed tears. He helps, His blessing comes in the dispatch. And that's the topic tonight we will talk about. So I won't go into that direction, but I hope you understand that if you want to take antibiotic, because we all have established we are sick and you want to heal, and for healing, the prescription is antibiotic. And we talked about all the ingredients. Now the question is, Imam says, do not be greedy. But if you have read Farman, in one Farman, Mullah says, Mullah Shah Karim, be a little greedy. Have you heard of that Farman?
Yes.
He says, be a little greedy. And then he says, don't be greedy. What are you saying, Mullah Papa? You know, are you confusing us? No, but there's a concept. There's a concept you have to understand. Understand, let's take physical greed. Let's say if you are working, you're an employee and you are making whatever, but then there is overtime available. Let me do overtime. Then there's more overtime available. Let me do more overtime. 7 days you're working and then you're tired and you're sleepy. But you've built a beautiful mansion, right? Because there was a greed. Now I have this car. I want to get that car. Greed is making you move in a direction and you're following that greed. Now you have beautiful things, but probably, you know, whatever you are, if you've enjoyed it or not, we are not going to talk about it. But that's the power of greed. It makes you do things. And then you get that outcome which makes you feel happy. I have this. In physical, worldly things, I can show you. Come to my house. Let me show it to you. I have this. This is the marble. This is that from. I can show off, right? You all get me what I'm saying. Let's come to us who are Batini seekers. In the Farman, when Mullah says, be a little bit greedy. Desire. intensely work on that desire of longing and wanting to become one with it. Be greedy. Don't be lazy about it. Put your actions into it, because greed will make you work. If you think of another farman, he is holding my hand, let me take a nap. That is a sust ibadat. It is ibadat without accountability. It is okay. Mullah said it is okay. There is no sin. Yes, he said that because he's kind and he's generous. But do we not know better? Because he said you have intellect. If you will do sust ibadat, you will not reach the destination. But he's so merciful, he blesses us. But remember, we talked about this ladder. If we don't pass the first level, how can we go to second level? Potentially, he blesses us. When he gave us the title of that, it is potential. We have to work to actualize it. So do not ever take his farman granted, that he's holding my hand. So it's okay to keep working hard and work overtime and have no energy to do ibadah. No, we have to discipline. When we work out physically, we all have to work out. Maula Papa is showing us being a role model. When we work out, we get tired. We have to eat right, we have to rest right to be able to work out. Otherwise, the Buddha dukh happens. Right? Kaam bhi nahi kar sakenge. Right? So this is just a worldly example. Similarly, if you want to be awake and alert, it's a discipline which we have to maintain to be able to do ibadah. Go to bed in right time, so you wake up in right time. So do ibadah. So do you see how everything is connected? Be a little bit greedy. Work towards it. Put your actions, your intentions, your directions toward that direction that I want it, I desperately want it. I'm not lazy and okay, I'll get it. Maula Baba, when will you give it? No, I want it. What do I do? Right? Put actions into it. But then, when someone sees light, I can tell some of you have had experience, because when I was talking, I got validation. It showed me that you have experiences, right? When you have an experience and you continuously sit in that state of mind, I want to experience it again. I want to experience it again. It is my right. I'm sitting. I want it. Wrong direction. Do not be good. It is given to you. It is not your right. Do you see the difference? Right? So there is a difference. And Maulana Papa explains it, but it's hard for us to understand all this Faramin because it requires reflection. It requires us to understand these Faramins with the example of world, because world is an example for us to understand the objective of it. Quran talks about it in 41/53. Sanurihim ayatina fil afaqi wa fi anfusihim, that I show you signs in the universe and in your soul. How many of us pick up those examples and learn, understand? So the whole world, our life is whole example. So greed is a worldly example, and people have made mentions and whatnot. Rich ho gaye. But we want to be greedy in this direction, to the extent that we are not lazy, to the extent that we are keeping ourselves accountable. And after that, it is your will, Mola, whenever you do. We will do the hard work, sincerely being awake. Mola, what Mola word uses? Chokas thayne ibadat karo. Susti wadi ibadat nahi. Chokas thayne. Like, be awake, alert, and really be sharp when you're doing ibadat. Just, yes. Do your ibadat. So that's what it means.
Then number 7, then there is also one, if you can explain to us, don't be neighbor, no, don't be pretentious.
Yes, oh my goodness. That is a hard farman. There is again Shah Karim's farman, do not be pretentious. How many of us pretend? So there's a fine line, right? There's a fine line. Remember, when we come to morning khane, when we do ibadat, it does give us happiness, right? But after some time, when we don't see the light, what happens? Then we pretend. Instead of working hard and seek knowledge, that why am I not progressing? Why do I feel the same way? I go to Jamaat Khana every day. I sit in ibadat, but I fall asleep. Constantly it is happening. What is wrong? What am I doing wrong? Or I'm staying awake, but I'm still not progressing. I'm not seeing light. What is wrong? I saw light once, but then again, I'm not seeing light again. What is wrong? All these are questions we got to seek answers on. If we become seekers, we will find the answer. There are no questions in the world of which there are no answers. Answers came first, questions are later. So, pretentious.
Pretentious donkey.
Pretentious. Many of us, because when we come to Jamaat Khana and we do not have anything, and people, again, it's our fault that we don't have knowledge. We start treating those people differently, those who come to Jamaat. For example, you go to regularly Jamaat Khana and then you don't come. Why did I see you in Jamaat Khana? I was there. Why weren't you there? This is just one simple example. You know what I just did by this dialogue? I was there. Ahankar. Not realizing. Sinning.
Right.
Yeah, I was there. You weren't there. Judgment. Why? Who made you God? Didn't Mawla said Iman is between you and Imam and Mommy? Why are you asking me? Do we do that? Why our young ones don't come to Jamaat? Because they are so sick of all the judgment. They are sick and tired of judgment from our elders. They have no freedom in Jamaat Khan. They cannot be themselves. And who's at fault? We. Constant judgment in our Jamaat. So Mullah says, don't pretend. Don't be dhongi. Don't think of yourself good if you come to Jamaat. Don't have that stick of righteousness. We have this attitude of self-righteousness. So this is a hard farman to talk about. But it is true. It is a farman. So remember the pulse check when we do we have that attitude? We are not going to progress in Ibadat because it's arrogance. Kaai bhi thai jai, mane tomaro Jamaat khano jo. Are we advertising ourselves and our Ibadat? What are we doing? मोमिन खामोश रहता है. हम अपनी तारीफ नहीं करते हैं. Especially बातिनी practice. Right? World is different. This is so private between us and our Imam. No one can judge us. No one. Nobody has a right. But we judge, we pretend. So there are harsh farman too. And actually there are lectures on that too. I'll stop here. Any more questions? Otherwise, you tell us. It's been time, right?
Me? Fine. I mean, unless if you guys want to have breakfast and then continue.
I have no problem. You decide.
You guys want to do that? Sorry.
I think we'll benefit from a break, right? Because brain
Yeah,
gets
we have a
settled.
break.